Now that we know how to emboss, the next step is adding color. And this is my favorite part of the entire process of embossing and stenciling. The adding color is the stenciling part, as I mentioned before. The medium that we're going to be working with are going to be Paintstiks. These are an oil-based paint in a solid form. And these are some samples that I have. All of these samples are done with the Paintstiks with a variety of techniques. They've also been embossed. Each one of them have been embossed and then stenciled. This is done with iridescence. It has a lovely sheen to it. Here's another one with iridescence. This one is actually done with Paintstiks, but it's a more spackled look because it's done by stippling. And Baby Jesus is the same way. He's been done with the Paintstiks, but more of a tapping or stippling technique. One thing I want to introduce you to right away is a tool that we call a stencil shield. I'm calling him Picasso because I think he looks like Guernica. This is Picasso. And it's a very interesting looking tool, but it is merely a stencil tool. Very necessary when you're adding color. The Paintstiks that I'm working with first are going to be the primary colors. And these come in 4 tiny little sticks. And initially they have a very dry skin on them. See this red one? See how it has that little skin coming off of it? Initially you need to take a paper towel and unseal that dry skin. See how it just flakes right off, pulls right off. And then in about 6 to 8 hours that'll seal back up. I like to stroke it out thin on my palette paper. And this is just a small piece of wax paper that I have attached. I'm going to unseal my blue. And stroke it out. And my yellow. Now, one disadvantage to Paintstiks is they are very creamy, almost a lipstick type of consistency, as you can tell. And it's very easy to make a mess with them. So after I have unsealed them, I take this paper towel, fold it up, and throw it in the trash almost immediately. I'm using 3 brushes. One for yellow, one for reds and oranges, and one for blue, green, and purple. It's kind of a light, medium, dark method. I like to have a piece of paper towel near me. And here I have already embossed from the back this hummingbird. And I went all the way around the edge as well. And start with my lightest color. In this case, the color that I'm starting with is yellow. And I'm going to go all over the leaves with this yellow color. Now this is where Picasso comes in because I don't have this edge taped off. I'm just going to lay Picasso right here to shield out my edges. Again, the technique that I'm using is called rouging. It's a circular, rotating type of brush technique. Again, right up here, I'm working close to the edge. So I'm going to move Picasso right there to shield out that edge. Now I missed the blossom because I'm going to make that red. And I'm going to put just a little bit of yellow underneath his stomach here. Then I'm going to use my second color, second lightest color, which in this case is red. Sometimes I dab just a little bit on the paper towel to make sure I don't have too much. And with a very light pressure, and pressure is something I just have to tell you, it's very hard to see. I'm using a circular rouging motion this motion will give you an even loading. Now, if I want to make his little chin right here red, and I don't want to get red anywhere else, I take one of these small holes in Picasso and place it right over his chin and add the red color. And I'm going to put a little bit of red on his beak. Now the next color that I'm going to work with is the blue. See how little paint I'm picking up? Just one swish of color off of there. Again, I'm just testing it a tad, and I'm rouging the color all over the leaves to make green. See how that's coming together? A little bit of green under his, a little reflection. I'm going to put a little more red here on the back of him because I want to make that part purple. So I'm going to base coat his wings with the red. Now I have a little bit of green in my brush from doing the leaves. I'm just rubbing it out. Pick up fresh blue off of your palette and rouge very gently across his wings to make purple. And I'm going to make his beak orange by putting a little bit of red and yellow on his beak. Red and yellow make orange. And then to make it brown, I add the complement of orange, which is blue. Or you can say all three primary colors together make brown. Now, I want his eye to be very dark. And there is a very tiny hole here on Picasso. I'm just placing that tiniest hole over his eye. Taking my darkest color, which is blue, and just push the color down into the holes. And there he is with a nice dark eye. You can take the stencil off, see if you like what you see. You can always put the stencil back on and add more color. Now I want to show you one more thing that Picasso can do. I'm going to wipe Picasso off, clean him up real well. I'm going to leave the hummingbird stencil in place, but I'm going to take this piece of tape off. Now I have a little tiny smudge of color out here on the edge, I'm noticing. And if you have a soft eraser, paint sticks are wonderful because they will erase. That's the beauty of using the paint sticks. They're solid, they're not wet, they're not going to cause a seep or a blur. And if you do have a slight smudge, you can usually pick up that color. Now, I don't have this guy taped down, and I'm going to use this rounded edge of Picasso that you see right here, and I'm going to make some clouds. I'm going to use a little bit bigger brush, stroke out a little bit more of the blue color. This is about a 1/2 inch stencil brush. I'm just going to make some clouds here, and I'm going to stencil right off the edge of Picasso. And you can make clouds on all kinds of things. You can make little scenes with horses running and clouds in the background. I even made fish with clouds swimming in the clouds. Kind of fun. I am holding, see how I'm holding one finger over this small hole so that I don't swish color into that. This is a real fun project to do with kids. And kids do really well with paint sticks. They're a really great medium for children to work with because they don't run under the stencil and they really have that aha experience of, see what I did. Just one last finishing touch. You can play with it. We're going to take this off, but see how you've created a frame for your hummingbird. To clean your brushes, use a degreaser like Simple Green or Dawn dishwashing detergent. Just pour a little bit in the palm of your hand under running water and swish the color out of your brushes. And that concludes Picasso, and we will move on to our next section.